running from Mason to Malin. What's the worst that could possibly happen? It's season 4. Let's go!
This week, Nick's got news, which usually means someone won't like it. Andrew is tapering, so naturally he's doing less, panicking more, and wondering if he's forgotten how to run. Matt is being Matt, which really explains itself. And Colin, somehow, has been event blocked by his own coach. This is Idiots Go Running.
So here we are on Idiots Go Running episode. Can anyone guess what episode we're on? Because we're more than we were the last time, obviously.
I think it's 88.
Ooh, Andrew?
Oh, well, I don't know. I like the number 88 because 88 miles per hour, Back to the Future. That's what makes me think. So I'm going to go with 88.
Don't pick the same as Mad. Pick a different one, Andrew. Pick a different one.
Well, I said 88, and I kind of like I would kind of like to be 88. 90. We'll go for 90.
Right. Nick, the tipster.
I would have thought it's 89. But
well, we are on episode 90 of Idiots Go Running.
Wow.
Now, that does include... well done, Andrew. Don't act so surprised.
I didn't know.
That does include Jason Nick. That does include Jason Nick and all our guest episodes. So, episode 90 of Idiots Go Running, 10 left. But
what do you mean 10
before
left?
we start this episode...
yeah,
is it 10 left? We're
There's
over?
the announcement, Andrew. There's the announcement.
Well, that's what
it was.
because Nick said before we start recording, what they're not telling us now. Well, now wow, Nick, there's only 10 episodes left. Now
There
we're
you
out.
There's only 10. So, guys, we got to drink this in. So, to start off, last week we had a brilliant announcement at Guinness World Records. We're going for a Guinness World Record. Andrew's the adjudicator on the road. Myself and Matt are going to be the fastest crossing of an MS team across Ireland. But this week we have an announcement and we have a jingle. Get ready, everybody, for the jingle.
All hail Nick, the silver Celtic played Nick. Nick runs so fast, and his name is Nick. Nick, 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 the runner Nick.
Good jingle for a great man. That's good.
It's a good jingle. Tell us about what you've been up to, Nick. Last episode, you were talking about an event. Tell us about the event. How did it go?
Yeah, so the event was the Anglo-Celtic Plate. So this is its 31st year. It's a 100-kilometre event between England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland and Northern Ireland. And I was representing Northern Ireland. That is where I live. That is where I pay my taxes. And that is where my club is based. So... so it was in Limerick in the south of Ireland on Saturday. The reason this event is quite sort of special is that it doesn't take the format of a normal ultra. This is laps. So you run a looped course and it was 51 and a half laps to run 100k. Now, the course was a tiny bit long. Not that I'm going to, it was a bit long. 100 actually ended up about 101k on my GPS, and most people would agree, but you don't want that course short because that would be devastating, because it's the British 100k championships, Irish 100k championships, Northern Ireland and Ulster 100k championships, all the 100k championships. So if it was 99.99, it'd be no good at all, would it? So so 100k essentially on a lapped course, and I ran 7 hours 24 minutes, which works out as about 7:05 per mile. That translates to about a 3:05, 3:06 marathon pace. So 2 marathons plus 10 miles at 3:05 marathon pace. And now my legs are tired.
Is that all?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of toenails that aren't going to make it, I'm afraid. So we'll have a little ceremony for them at some point next week. There's lots of other sore bits, like my arms from carrying bottles the whole time, because you get this. I mean, it's an amazing event because you get crew. So Northern Ireland provided sort of crew to help you during the race, so you're not having to pick anything up. You're literally just handed your bottles and gels as you run past the kind of start-finish straight, where there's all the gazebos of all the countries lined up. So it's kind of like a little party atmosphere about every 2K. Everybody cheering you on, asking if you need something, handing you something. So there's very little for you to do other than run, and that is literally all I did for 7 hours, 24 minutes, was just run. There was no walking, there was no stopping, there was no toilet break, there was nothing. I literally just ran for that whole time and ate and drank whatever was given to me.
Let me make sure I got that. You did not go to the toilet one time in 7 hours.
Nope.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Like, that might be even more impressive than like the actual accomplishment. I have to call that out. That is incredible.
I was just about to say, like, I'm impressed, Nick, about the pace, tell everyone where you finished and where Northern Ireland finished. Go. Let's big up the country.
Yeah. So Northern Ireland finished second. So it's you take the top 3 people in the country that finished, you add their times together, and that gives you a total time. So we were second overall behind England. England normally win this thing. They've obviously got a massive pool of very, very good ultra runners to draw from. So they're definitely, even in the world of ultra running, actually, the 100K and 50K guys and girls are incredible. So England had a super strong team, but then Northern Ireland finished second overall. So that equals our highest ever finish. So absolutely just stoked to be part of that. Yeah, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Happy days.
To be part of a team and all that stuff, like the whole weekend was brilliant. So I might have to go back and do another one and go a bit quicker.
We were texting outside of our Idiots Go Running text, and I woke up, you were already running as I was getting out to do a 20-mile long run, and here you were already 45 miles into your run probably at that point in time. Just insane, though, looking at the pace. Like, I don't know how you did it, and just hats off. I mean, perspective. So I've done a 12-hour loop course ultra. So it wasn't based on distance, it was based on time. Mm-hmm. I had to do, I believe it was 3.5 mile loops. So arguably less boring than what you did.
Yeah.
Right. And in 12 hours, I did something like 42 miles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just the perspective of what that actually looks like when you compare an average or maybe below average runner to just the level that you're at, it's amazing.
I think it's maybe a capacity for just boredom and running around in circles. So I think Colin and I, when we first chatted, we had a joke that I would run around a car park if it was the only thing available. I don't remember that, maybe the first time I did a podcast for you. And, it's just, it suits me, that level of control. And there's so few variables, really. The only thing that is stopping you is, well, your brain and your ability to run. There's no external factors particularly that affect it. The course is set up to be pretty fast. I mean, weirdly, it was actually normally on a tarmac, but this was a gravel surface. So that added a little sort of extra edge of complexity in terms of shoes and things like that people were choosing. But I don't really think it affected me. So yeah, anyway, very happy with that. And now I just have to rest up and focus on the next challenge, which is really related to Colin and our other little episodes, because my next big event is pacing Belfast Marathon. But anyway, back to what we're here for, which is talking about a rather longer challenge than what I've been up to. So how's everyone getting on?
I'm dying to hear how Andrew's doing.
I'll just jump in, Nick, because you did say, we'll flip back to the very start when we first met, when we had our first episode, that you'd run anywhere. You once were waiting in the airport and you used an unused part of the airport to do laps to get in a running session. Your running theme is a washing machine advert that goes on and on and on I don't even know what the washing machine's called, but it's you down to a T. These events, the mind-numbing, the most boring events for someone like you actually really surprises me. Really surprises me, man. And yeah, as Matt, we're all excited to hear what Andrew's doing, but we'll go from the almighty impressive Nick to the absolute opposite end of the spectrum. Andrew. Andrew, how's it going?
It's quite the
Harsh.
contrast.
Harsh.
I don't know. I don't know. I think we all know that's not really that harsh. So,
Andrew, by the way, before you tell us, I got to tell you, Colin has actually been bragging about you a little bit. So he's putting on this show, for the podcast, being so harsh with you. But he's told me on the side, he said, I rang up Andrew last week and he was in the middle of the run. Like he was running when I called him. When does that happen?
And I don't want to boast, but it was outside. I wasn't just running on the treadmill. I was running
in the real world.
In the real world. And it's not the first time he's phoned me, and I've been running in the real world outside. So I have to say, I will tell you, but like Nick, your last few miles would be like the quickest miles I would ever do in my life. So again, after 7+ hours, if I raced you like those last few miles, you would still beat me, and I'd be as fresh as a daisy. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But how is my training going? Well, I think it's going okay. Colin phoned me up a while ago and he goes, Andrew, you need to talk to Nick. I'm concerned for you. You need to tell Nick what you're doing. Here's me. I will. But you had this big event going up. So Nick, we'll meet maybe in the next week or two, and I'll buy you that coffee that you so well deserve.
Sounds good.
So I am now out in the real world. I run every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Didn't run today though, so I didn't everything. Well, I'll get that in a second. But I'm now doing roughly about 8 to 9 mile on a Monday. On a Wednesday, I do between 12 to 14, and then on a Friday, 8 to 9, with 20 minutes of strength work on a Tuesday and about 40 to 45 minutes strength work on a Thursday, with some very, very light running on a Saturday. So we've put the 30 mile week thing running, over 30 miles a week. So the reverse taper, as you talk about, Nick, it's tapering upwards. And Colin was at my house last night, and I showed him my Strava, and you can just see the wee graph tapering up. So you can, and compared to this time last year, I've ran 333% more, which sounds impressive, but when you don't run, any running's going to be better than not. So it's more impressive than it sounds. And I'm feeling good, and I'm out in the real world, and I need to start fueling now. So I'm eating bananas, and I've got my Ultra Nutrition and a wee flapjack and all. So we're chocolate milk. That was another great tip. So after my long run, I come in and I take a big glass or 2 or maybe 3 of chocolate milk. So it's I'm enjoying it. I'm listening to some. Can't watch YouTube when you're out in the real world, unfortunately. So it's podcasts and audiobooks and some music. So what do you all think of that? Out in the real world and running and not watching YouTube?
What's your podcast?
Idiots Go Running. I do actually listen to the Idiots Go Running.
Outside of Idiots Go Running, what's your podcast when you listen to? What's your go-to podcast at the minute, or your audiobook?
There's my audiobook. Well, the podcast, there's a few AI ones, and then there's one called Stuff I Learned Yesterday, which is a great Daryl Darnell in America. He's really, really good and insightful, and it's a wee short podcast of 10 to 15 minutes, and it's good. And then a few AI ones to keep myself in the loop. And then podcasts or audiobooks. I forget the name of it, but it's good. Although I can't remember the name of it at all.
In Andrew's defense, it's not like every chapter they remind you of the title of the book that you're listening to.
Don't even know
right?
that.
Like you pick it once, and that's lucky if you remember it.
The lovely thing is the author also speaks it. So he does, but I can't even remember the author's name, so that's no good either. But it's always good when the author reads his own book.
He narrates it, Andrew.
Could be the word Colin was looking for. I was struggling, like I really should have known that. But it's late, and the reason why I didn't go out running this morning, everything's laid out, and I woke up with a bit of a cold, so I'm just not in tip top form. So I'm not just at the minute. But I showed up for you three and all our listeners tonight, and I joked about going to bed. I will be going to bed as soon as this is over. So I'm just not 100%. But I don't normally get sick. But I'm not sick, just not 100% today, unfortunately.
Well, just so this does not get confused for a sensible running podcast, I just want to turn this into Andrew's book recommendation podcast. And so if I got it correctly, some book narrated by some author, highly recommended, right? Really good?
No, it's decent. I wouldn't highly recommend it, if I'm being honest. Well, it's decent. It gets, I'm being honest, so after a chapter, then I put it, yeah. So
noted. All right. So if you're tuning in for the book recommendations, sounds like that one's hit or miss, whatever book it is.
Yeah, it's decent. It's decent. It's no YouTube. It's no YouTube, Matt. What is? So Nick, I want to go to you. What do you think of the training plan thus far? Like, is the reverse
I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with that. That sounds good. Stacking some mileage, pretty decent. There's nothing, all those runs are relatively long, and I think just keeping that consistency is going to be critical between now and, well, you still got time. So I'm pleased that the mileage is already there, because we've got 3 sort of calendar months, 3 and a bit calendar months to go.
14 weeks, I believe. Yep.
Yeah. So this is a really good base to just carry on reverse tapering from. But you don't want actually those types of runs. You probably don't need to go, that much further in terms of your midweek mileage. The only thing I'm thinking is, maybe like I saw like Matt's run at the weekend, he started to do some 20 plus miles. So I think that is going to be maybe the focus for you, is not adding anything midweek, but just maybe stacking runs back to back. And then at some point adding a couple of bigger mileage runs on, well, it doesn't have to be a weekend, but just obviously suits most people, but something to just put you on your feet for a whole lot of hours that is then going to allow your body to adapt.
Happy days. That's the plan. Definitely the longer Saturday runs that will come on, because the better weather's here now, even in Northern Ireland. So long may that continue. So happy days. I'm still going to buy the coffee though, even though you give me that great advice.
Matt, what about you?
Matt?
Yeah. So my training has been going really, really well. I think I feel maybe the most fit I've felt possibly ever. Which sounds scary to say this early on into training. We're still 3 months out, and I'm still tapering up, as you might say, also. But that being said, I also am being hyper cautious. So I've already had some instances where it's like, ooh, is that like an injury developing? Is that a problem? And towards the end of the 20-mile run I did this weekend, I felt some pressure on the outside of my right knee. Not painful, but it was just pressure. And I am very in tune with what my body feels, for better or for worse. And after the run, I was limping quite a bit, found stairs to be particularly difficult. And so, had to implement the RICE protocol, right? Rest, ice, compression, and entertainment. Is that the last
Elevation.
Sure, that works too.
Right, but Andrew's rice is entertainment, I feel. But
you know what?
Yeah.
And I sent a text to my running coach and my running PT, letting them know what happened, and they both said, "Look, don't do any running until you can get checked out by the PT, which will be 2 days from now. I've got an appointment, and just to play it safe, which this week was already scheduled as a cutback week for me, so easier week." And my PT shot me a message like, "And that means no cross training." So they're keeping me safe, which I really appreciate, because type A control freak Matt is like, "But here's the plan. I got to stick to it." And it's like, no, the plan, and I've said this to Colin many times, like, we're not getting medals for sticking to our plan. Like the medal is doing the actual run. And to do that, we've got to show up healthy and ready to do it. So I have been in zero pain today. I'm not limping today at all. So I'm optimistic that I'm okay. But again, just being super cautious and, icing throughout the day today. Only thing I'm doing between now and Wednesday is weightlifting. That's it. I'm not even doing any of the strength training I do for my legs. No HIIT, no biking, no running, no walking on inclines, which, by the way, I've been loving, right? Because we've got so much elevation gain that we're going to be covering. And I've been doing 15-degree incline walks 3 mornings a week, and I'm loving it. I'm like, my body is getting used to this whole training at an incline thing. So all in all, I'm going to say training's been great, and precautions are also great. They're important. I might not like them, but I am doing well with abiding by, I believe, the most important things to keep myself healthy.
Very sensible. There's a mature head there, Matt, I would say. But actually, what I'm hearing is that Andrew's doing more training than you this week, Matt. So
it's very possible, as long as he's feeling better. It sounds.
He's definitely doing more than me,
as he should.
So, right. This Andrew, you could be elevated to I don't know, just well up the order of training miles this week.
If I end up being the one that trains most in this podcast truly has only 10 episodes left, James. If that's the stage where we're talking here.
Nick, I want to know, though, how much are you running this week? Are you taking the entire week off?
No, I had this great idea that I'd book the car in for some work at the garage tomorrow. And the only way I can get back is to run back. Now, this isn't normally a problem. So what on earth possessed me to book it in the Tuesday after a 100k race at the weekend? I have no idea, but I have to go for a run tomorrow morning. It's only about 4.5 miles. But yeah, so I normally would wait until probably Thursday. I would give myself a whole 4 days off. Imagine that. And just start doing some easy miles. But no, is
that 4.5 miles after you drop the car off and 4.5 miles to get the car after?
Well,
so is that 8 miles in total?
No, because the other human beings in my house might actually be awake when I need to go and get the car, so they'll hopefully drive me there. But no, it's like it's me dropping the car off and then running home, and then hoping I can get a lift back, because I really don't fancy a double day tomorrow. So yeah, my own stupidity, but there we go. So yeah, so I'm going to run tomorrow. I'll let you know how it goes. I mean, if you see a guy rolling, so I have to drop the car off in Mollusk, right? So Andrew and Colin will know that it's a long way uphill. Now, luckily, I live at the bottom of the hill, so I could just roll down if I really had to. But anyway, yeah. So normally 4 days off, something like that, and then just really just go out and do 20-30 minutes. Normally just for my head, because I just start to get a bit mad if I don't get any running in or any fresh air and stuff. So yeah, but anyway, that's back to me. We need to hear about Colin. Colin.
Well, before we go to Colin, just throwing it out there, I live quite close to Mollusk, so if you do need a lift back, I can give you a lift back. I know it's
there we go.
I'm not. What time are you talking about?
I don't know, because it depends what needs to be done to it. So there's gremlins in the electrics. You know the way everything's flipping. That's a whole different topic. Electrical bits in cars.
I mean, that if you need a lift, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Andrew turns up with that coffee, and you guys can talk about his plan on the drive back.
Well, that's maybe true.
Wow.
Here we go, on the fly, organising my life tomorrow. I'm sure the listeners are enthralled by this whole story.
You know what? If it wasn't a Tuesday, if it was a Wednesday, I could run back with you. That said, we'd only get the shot for like 3 seconds and it'd be off in the distance. But, you know.
Not this Wednesday. Yes. Oh, dear. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. You might have to edit 10 minutes of the podcast there, Colin, because nobody needs to hear about that.
No, I this is real, Nick. This is real. This is real life. Because I was going, this podcast, like Andrew's sensible, Matt's sensible, and then for once, Nick, you're not the most sensible. So yeah, with my training, I don't know if I can even talk about it on the Idiots Go Run podcast. I have to wait till the Chasing Nick podcast, because my training, I've been saying to my wife, I can't see past. So there's this Belfast Marathon. It's like someone's put a big mental block that I can't see past it. So the NI 100 and the Mizzenamallon, although I'm planning for Mizzenamallon, I'm actually, guys, I'm working on the t-shirts and the sponsors from Scimitar Clothing. So I'm working on getting Alter Nutrition on, Used Cars NI on. Running is going to be on there as well. The Gooder sunglasses, and who else?
Alter,
Bailey's Coffee.
There's
Alter Nutrition.
One, possibly Maine.
Protein Rebel's going to be on it. Who else, Andrew?
Maine.
Oh, Maine. I'm having a chat with the main man in the drinks. So there's a new product coming from. Do you ever remember, Nick? The Andrew, obviously you're my brother, you remember, and Matt, you don't know, but in Northern Ireland there was these wee vans that came around, and they drop bottles off at your door, and then you put your bottles back out, and they pick the bottles up, and they wash the bottles, and then they brought you back drinks. There's this drink called sarsaparilla, and I used to love it, and it was a lovely, lovely drink, and that was from the main man. So we're currently in discussion. I don't know if I can say this in the podcast, can I, Andrew?
Well, we'll have to cut this. It's going to be a short episode. We'll keep cutting everything out, Colin. You know what I mean?
Well, it is what it is.
So what's this space? You have to save
watch
it.
this space.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. I'm meeting Luke this week, but watch this space.
When you're talking about...
Back to my training.
Sorry, when you're talking
Andrew,
about
you go
training,
for it.
because you're talking about the Belfast Marathon, but there is an event I'm signing up to, all being well. And Nick, Colin needs your permission to see if he can sign up for it, because
Nick,
Colin's...
can I do another race?
Colin wants to do another race. I know, you see, and it's like it's down to you, Nick, because Colin always said we'll only do...
I already had to pull one. What was it? Can I do a 75 miler 2 weeks before the 100? No.
Well, hang on. We got to hear what the race is, because
True.
part of me would not at all be surprised to hear it's like a watermelon eating contest or something like that, right? So what's the race?
So it is...
Watermelon? I love watermelon.
There is, by V1 Wild NI, they're having a marathon in the North Coast on the 16th of May. So I'm going to be signed up as part of my training. So that's going to obviously be a long run, and it's probably a decent... Well, it's going to be a decent run, obviously, for me. Not going to be going super fast and whatnot. But Colin goes, I'll join you. And I said, you need Nick's approval before you're allowed to do such things. And even your wife...
Look at all of this sensibility. I don't even know who I'm talking to.
Do you know what Nick's turned me down from so far? A 75 miler before that. Then he's turned me down for... I sent him... I was actually... I sent you, Nick, as a joke, but maybe if he says yes. A backyard ultra. Like before the event, and that was really, and I knew myself that was a wee bit dodgy. A backyard ultra, which you could go into a lot of miles, 100 miles. I think I could do more than 100 miles. I think I could hit the 200 mark.
Jumping in here,
but anyway,
the fact, Nick, that Colin listens to you, you have no idea the power you have, because me and I think his wife and anyone else does not. That's true, Colin. We do not have this kind of power. So enjoy. Like this is up there with your achievement at the weekend, having the power over Colin that no one else has, Nick. So I'm looking forward to this answer.
It's so true. Andrew used to tell me stuff, but he used to tell me the opposite answer, so I wouldn't do what he didn't want me to do.
I know.
The old,
sometimes.
But then I learned about the reverse psychology, and then Andrew used to use reverse psychology, but then I used to reverse his reverse psychology, but then he learned to reverse the reverse psychology that I had used. So, like, I don't know how many reverses we're on at the minute.
Well, now when you ask me something, two things happens. Do you want?
Answer.
Do you want? Or ask Nick. This is my answer. So this is it. This is an ask Nick's version.
So before Nick answers this, I'm not racing this. I was going to race it, but I'm not going to. It's after the marathon. It's in between the
16th of
NI100
May,
and the other one. I think it's good training. I think it's good timing your feet. I'm with Andrew. Andrew will keep me slow. I'm not running fast, and I'm just going out to enjoy a walk with Andrew.
I am running fast.
That's kind of so.
No, I think it'll work actually, because it was that 2 weeks between Belfast and
Yeah,
the other one.
right bang in the middle, half fairness.
So
yeah,
just
16th.
2 weeks of easy recovery, and then that'll be a nice introduction into 100-mile training. No, that sounds good. I'm not saying no to that. I can see that being sensible.
But he has to stick to
Happy
my pace,
days.
Nick. Is that what you're saying,
Yes.
Nick?
Yeah, so you can't try and win it or something,
I'm not allowed to race it.
not allowed to race it.
Unless I'm racing it, so yeah, you ain't winning it.
But I was hoping I would meet Andrew halfway and I could get a high five from him and be like, just relive that there North Coast high five,
yeah,
winning a race high five moment. But no,
What you should actually do is probably just start doing M2M fueling and pacing practice together. That it would be a good opportunity for you to spend a significant amount of time together and just get the race tactics dialed in. That would be my thoughts. But that's being
I
sensible.
love that. By the way, I'm not considering. As soon as I am fully back into my running plan, my long runs shift from mileage based to time based, and so doesn't matter the distance. As I make that transition, it's going to be switching to the run, walk, run also, where I'll be doing. I think I'm going to try it at first with 10 minutes of running followed by 2 minutes of walking, and just do that for a full 3 hours to see what that feels like. And I know we're all going to be kind of testing that out, right? We're going to have to dial in exactly where we need to be to get through 7, 8, 9 hours of being on our feet. But that's where I'm going to start as I transition to the time-based long runs. I love that idea.
If you're all doing a run-walk strategy and you're all doing your own run-walk strategy, it could, and then you can only go at the pace of the slowest person. You could end up just doing a walk strategy. So you're going to have to agree on the same strategy, otherwise it could get a bit awkward.
And on that, Nick, to a follow-up question
or awkward.
Oh dear.
At
week.
peak, Nick, how long should we be out, or what peak mileage should we aim to hit at this in one single day?
Do you know what? The actual event is so far removed from anything that you can really do to yourself that as Matt said, it's quite right now, I just focus on time on feet. I think if you can go out and do, something like that marathon, walking that type of distance, so you might be out there for 5-6 hours, and then the next day you just need to get up and experience what it's going to feel like to go and try and walk on that type of fatigue. So I wouldn't really focus on distance. It's more about getting some long durations of time on your feet on consecutive days, just to get used to that, really. So you don't need to worry about speed or distance, but yeah, time on feet. That's what I would say.
And there is, I'll say, diminishing return once you hit a certain level, right? So for me, I don't know that my plan will ever, I've got to confer with my coach also, but ever exceed like 4.5 hours on any given long day. And so the day before, trying to pile those back to back long runs might be 3 hours, and then the next day 4.5, or vice versa, just depending on schedule. But even though we're likely going to be 8 hours some days, maybe even more, no need to actually test that, because we're going to be doing enough damage to ourselves training at 4 hours. Even doing it easy, that's a lot of stress on the body, and we're easing into it to then come in ready in June.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to break yourselves.
Yeah.
So I think Andrew, you've covered your training, you're tapering up. Matt, you're staying free from injury. Me, I can't see past the Belfast Marathon, and Nick's just still winning things. So I think that wraps up today's episode. And by the way, I had a game I didn't even get time to play the game. You guys were worried about what are we going to talk about? Well, I'm sure we'll find something to talk about, and we did, and it didn't even fit in my game. Matt, you had a jingle, everything ready for you. But Andrew, do you want to see us out?
Yeah. All right. Until next time, this is Idiots.
My name's Andrew. Do you not start with that?
Your name's not Andrew.
Again, again.
Andrew, are you okay?
No, I've clearly said I'm not like 100% in this episode, so this proves it, right? So just wait. We wouldn't cut it. We'll just cut that again, okay?
No, I'm not cutting that.
Okay, my name's Andrew.
My name's Colin.
My name's Nick.
My name's Matt.
And this is Idiots.
Go.
Running.
We'll see you next time.
I think we did it.
For next time, I want run and ing to be separate, but that's good. Well done.
Oh,
We're getting
that's
there.
next level.
Maybe 100 on episode 100, we might have it down to a T. But then I feel like it would ruin it. If it was perfect, it wouldn't be Idiots Go Running, would it?
What a way
The
to
last
end the 100th
episode.
Last episode, Nick. What a way to end.
And that's this week's episode. Andrew's done a full book review, but in keeping with the standards of this podcast, you'll have to guess the book. Nick continues to control Colin's life with the quiet confidence of a man who knows best. And Matt is, of course, doing an outstanding job of ignoring the fact he's injured. So really, business as usual. All hail Nick. This has been Idiots Go Running.